Hello, I'm Brother Taylor, and today I'd like to talk to you about this formula as it relates to the conditional tense. This is si plus imperfect plus conditional. This is actually a formula that you probably should memorize and practice quite a bit. Now, in order to really understand this formula, you need to be able to conjugate the imperfect really well and the conditional really well. So make sure you practice conjugating those verbs, especially some of the important verbs like avoir and être, and faire, and aller, and dire, and er verbs, and ir verbs, and maybe a few verbs like vouloir and pouvoir and devoir. These are all super, super important verbs, and if you can conjugate them in the imperfect and conditional, then you can actually do this quite easily. Because all you have to do is know the formula, si, imparfait, and conditionnel. So here we have si, and the imperfect, and the conditional, just like our formula right here. Let's see what this means. Si tu faisais tes devoirs, if you were doing, or were to do, or really it could translate, if you did your homework, si tu faisais tes devoirs, tu aurais, you would have a good grade. Notice again, this is a conditional, it's the would tense, you would have. Here's the verb avoir, to have. You would have a good grade. If you did your homework, you would have a good grade. And again, we had this idea of the imperfect. If you were to do your homework, you would have a good grade. It's kind of this idea of if you were to go, then that would be a good thing. So here, again, we have another phrase similar. Si tu étais heureux, tu irais au cinéma avec moi. Si tu étais heureux, if you were happy, notice the imperfect, si, the imperfect comes right after the si, you would go to the movies with me. Tu irais, you would go to the movies. So then if this were the case, then this would happen. It's this idea of this, if this were the case, then this would happen. Si tu étais heureux, tu irais au cinéma avec moi. If you were happy, you would go to the movies with me. Notice it doesn't, in terms of this formula, we can actually take these are mini phrases, we call them clauses. You can take these phrases right here and you can actually put them, twist them around. For example, here, you could also say, you would have a good grade, and we could put this over here, if you did your homework. Instead of saying if you did your homework, you would have a good grade, you can actually take this clause and put it right here at the end of this, after this clause. But it's really the same formula. You'll have the imperfect after the si, and it's used with the conditional here. So an example of that, for example, if you were happy, you would go to the movies with me. You could actually say you would go to the movies if you were happy. Again, it's the same formula. Notice the si plus imperfect plus goes with the conditional here. It's just we can be quite flexible with these clauses, with these phrases within phrases. So notice again here, you'll never have the conditional right after the si, because that's not part of our formula. So you'll never have a conditional tense, any tense we call them, the r's never follow the c's. In other words, any the future or conditional, you have an r in the verb right near the end, right before the ending. So there's this little saying that says the r's never follow conditional c's. So you'll never have an r, in other words, a conditional or future tense, right after a si. It'll always be the imperfect. In our other formula, remember our other formula in a previous lesson is si, present, future. This one is si, imperfect and conditional. So again, make sure you can conjugate these verbs really well. So if you're taking, for example, the test, and I give you something like this, si tu regardais la télé, okay, and I had two different verbs here. Or let's put three here. Which one would it be? Would it be était? Would it be, let me write it larger. Would it be était? Or would it be serait? Okay? If you were watching TV, what would it be? You would be tired. Notice this is part of our formula, C, imperfect. So we need to figure out which one of these is in the conditional, and this is the correct phrase, serait. Okay? Okay, thank you.